Hi, I'm an overseer, and today we're going to talk about the southern colonies of the United States. The southern colonies are Maryland, Virginia, North and South Carolina, and Georgia. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about my job as an overseer. I am hired by plantations owners to watch the slaves and make sure they are doing their job. Most of the settlers here want to make money.
That's right. That's why they decide to bring their families and we, the slaves, to work the land. In the plantations we grow tobacco, rice, and indigo. In this colony, slavery is legal. Most of us are imported for Africa, but others born here and became slaves from birth.
Here we have a warm climate. Although the warm weather helps spread disease, it also makes for ideal farming conditions. We found that our economic success was tied to agriculture. South Carolina land, for example, is suitable for rice and indigo. Virginia and Maryland are specialized in tobacco, and Southerners not only sells the crops throughout the colonies, but also make a large profit exporting them to England.
Well, that's because the southern colonies are made up of mostly coastal plains and Piedmont areas. The soil is good for farming and the climate is warm. Including hot summers and mild winters, the growing season here is longer than any other region.
You're right. And also, while most Southerners live in small farms, some of the wilderness people establish plantations for large-scale farming.
And indentured servants and slaves do much of the work on the plantations. Indentured servants have their passage paid to the new world, but then they have to work for a certain period of time to pay off that debt. They generally work from 4 to 7 years, after which they become free, unlike the slaves. A large percentage of the white settlers in North America have indentured servants. Oh, and also some owners of smaller farms use indentured servants and slaves.
Wow, you know so much. How do you learn that?
Well, that's because in the southern colonies we are taught to read so we can study the Bible. But we get to also learn Latin and math and other subjects. That's right, but that is reserved to boys. We, the girls, are also taught to learn and study the Bible. But we are not allowed to go to a grammar school or to college unless we are Quakers. But most of the colonies are full of small farms. And these farms are also spread out, and instead of being along the coast, they are in the back country. Yes, the back country is the area considered the Piedmont, just beyond the coastal plains further inland. The back country is far from towns and schools, so children who live on small farms rarely go to school or learn to read and write unless their parents taught them. The farm owner often works the fields, which is different from a plantation owner. A small farm owner may have a few, if any, indentured servants and slaves, helping, but the owner works alongside them, if he does. Oh, and in our free time we like to go to dances and social clubs, make new clothes, or go to see plays. Yeah, and we also like sled rides and ice skating, or run racing.
But as we settle and spread across New England, we enter a land where Native Americans were already living. At first, relations with Americans native in the southern colonies began somewhat as a peaceful coexistence. As more English colonists began to arrive and encroach further into native lands, the relationship became more violent. The complexity of the interactions with American Indians have grown up as the region's economic development grows. One such called cash crops of tobacco, rice, and indigo provide highly profitable in the mercantilist system. More colonies arrived seeking economy opportunities. The growing English population in the southern colonies required more of the American natives' land for crop cultivations, which full increases tension between us, and we enter into conflict with them.
Okay. Yes, you're right. We began attacking their village, but it's because you believe that you can own the land. If you claim it, but that's not true. No one can own any land, but because the settlers had many allies, some of the tribes were nearly completely exterminated. And talking a little about each southern colony, and first we have Virginia. The first permanent English colony in North America was founded in 1607 at Jamestown, Virginia. The establishment of Jamestown was a business venture of London, Virginia Company, a joint stock company which raises capital for the expeditions of America by selling shares of company stocks to investors. Once financed by investors, the Virginia Company plans to send colonies to find gold and other valuable nature resources in America. The spoil will be sent back to England to pay off investors and make a handsome profit. The Virginia Company was granted a royal character by King James in 1607. The full text of the Virginia Charter may be accessed from Yale University, a volume project. The charter gave the Virginia Company the authority to govern and enslave the North America colony in the name of England. There were 104. Pues lo dijo así ya, y ya tú.
Sí.
Okay.
Déjalo así hablando nomás.
Sí, y me grabas yo con el desde aquí.
Sí.
No, hombre, que...
Pero si no terminaste.
No, me faltan los merengues.
Perdón.
There were 104 sailors who arrived to sail Jamestown in 1607.
Then we have Maryland. In 1632, King Charles I granted Lord Baltimore proprietary rights to land in the Chesapeake Bay region to found a colony. The land was a reward for the noble service to the king. The resulting colony of Maryland was settled initially as a haven for Catholics, who were being persecuted by Protestants because the Chesapeake Bay region was fertile ground for tobacco production similar to land in neighboring Virginia. Maryland Catholics were quickly outnumbered in their own colony. In an effort to preserve the rights of Catholics in Maryland, Lord Baltimore quickly had the Act of Toleration passed in the Maryland Legislative Assembly. This colonial law guaranteed religious freedom in Maryland to all Christians. Protestants and Catholics Maryland in 1649 Act of Toleration can be accessed through the Yale University Avalon Project.
And about South and North Carolina, the Carolina colony was originally a single property colony located between Virginia and Spanish Florida. The land was given in 1663 to 8 nobles who had helped Charles II reclaim the monarchy from Oliver Cromwell in what is known as the Restoration. The 8 nobles who were given Carolina were referred to as the Lord periods of the vast colony. Location impacted the development of the Carolina colony as it had the other southern colonies of Virginia and Maryland. Southern Carolina along the coast became a great producer of rice and indigo on large commercial plantations. The city of Charleston in the Southern Carolina colony was a transportation hub for exporting the valuable cash crops. North Carolina, above the fall line, had a different soil and climate, which did not lend itself greatly to rice and indigo cultivations. Instead, the farmers in the northern region of the colony developed small tobacco farms. The Carolina colony was officially divided in 1712 after the wide-ranging single colony proved too difficult to manage. South Carolina, with its valuable Charleston-based resources, was taken from the proprietors by the king and made a royal colony in 1719. There, in 1729, the proprietors sold their shares of North Carolina to the crown, making it to a royal colony.
Georgia was the last English colony established in North America period to the Revolutionary War in 1632. Georgia was created by England for two purposes. First and foremost, England wants to create a defensive buffer between the dangerous Spaniards in Florida and the increasingly vulnerable South Carolina plantation in Charleston Port. The second purpose was to reduce the number of the debtors crowding London jails by sending many of them to the new Georgia colony for the first stars and to provide defense to South Carolina. General James Ogden Forbes and the 20 trustees were given the charter for Georgia, regulated the colony and its inhabitants with strict rules. Land holdings were limited in size to small farms. Slavery was banned and alcohol provided. To trustees believed the strict limit of lands holding could prevent the wild economy stratification of the population that had developed in Carolina.
And for our part, this will be all.
Thank you for watching and goodbye!
Bye!